When it comes to sustainability in Kiwi businesses, now is the time for action. So how are seasoned corporate sustainability leaders making progress on New Zealand's gnarliest sustainability challenges? Let's find out. I'm Jay Krangle, Head of ESG at the Sustainable Business Council.
I'm Alec Tang, Sustainable Value Partner at KPMG.
And I'm Kule Anthony, Sustainable Value Associate Director at KPMG.
In this joint SBC and KPMG podcast series, we'll be talking with leaders in the business sustainability community in New Zealand about their efforts to shift the dial on sustainability in Aotearoa, despite challenging headwinds. Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai haere mai, ko Jay, toko ingoa. Hello and welcome to another fabulous episode of our Sustainability Superstars podcast. Our superstar today is Sam Bridgman, who is the Head of Sustainability at Pāmu and has worked in a corporate sustainability role for 12 plus years and been generally in the sustainability and environmental space since, as he describes, way back when, over 20 years. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I wondered if you could kick us off to tell us how would you describe your job? You've got 3 kids. When they were little, how would you say what you do to them? Because it can be quite a complex area, sustainability.
It can be, and I've never managed to describe it to them successfully, but we'll give it a go. Well, basically, my job at the moment involves looking across climate, biodiversity, freshwater and sustainable finance, and looking at how we can produce food and fibre or farm, in effect, in a way that's better for the environment and both reduces environmental impacts, but also enhances social aspects. That makes not much sense to a 5-year-old, but maybe your listeners will understand it a bit more.
Nice. And I guess, working in food and fibre, I'm sure there are many wicked sustainability challenges, but if you had to pick just one, either sort of at a business or a systems level, what's your biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think thinking about this question, there's some pretty big challenges, no matter what the topic, whether it be climate or biodiversity, or when I worked at New Zealand Post, decarbonising transport modes and so on. But actually what's common and probably the hardest thing, no matter what the topic is, actually embedding change in a way that will stick and in a way that you've brought the business with you. And so, there's a lot of work to do to overcome that challenge. It is possible, but it does require a lot of getting alongside people and really understanding all parts of the business and knowing where you can leverage that change and how you're going to do so in a way where you can walk away and it will continue and doesn't rely on you going into the future. And, having worked in transport and then come to ag, it's the same sort of principles that you have to apply when starting on that change.
Do you think we're getting better at it as a profession, the sustainability professionals?
I thought you meant Sam personally, Kule. That's quite a loaded question.
Us, we collectively.
I think as the profession grows and matures, yes, they're starting to recognise it, and I think you're seeing that when you see the different types of sustainability professional now. Back when I first started, you knew everyone working on sustainability, and you could count across your hands and know everyone. But nowadays, people are coming into it from all sorts of different areas, and in the best case, they're actually staying in the area, whether it be procurement or finance, and have a sustainability aspect to their role, as opposed to being a sustainability professional trying to influence those areas. So, yeah, I think the profession overall is getting better at it, but of course the key is actually making the change and making it stick, and stick in a way where it lasts through economic or political or other cycles that occur.
Yeah. Totally. And so I guess for those people coming into those positions, whether it's a sustainability role or another role that has sustainability as part of it, what would be your biggest lesson then from kind of that influencing and bringing people on the journey that you would impart to the young bods coming through?
I think, first of all, do the footwork. It's a lot of going around learning about the business, learning about the motivations, but also the embedded incentives or disincentives that make, procurement or operations tick the way they do. So you can really understand the language they use, why they're doing what they're doing, and how it relates to the business. And once you've kind of built up a systems picture, you can start to think about where those leverage points are for change. And then I think about it, I don't know if the analogy works for everyone, but it works for me. It's kind of like building a house. You need to kind of know the concept and the size of you want. You need to have a plan. You get the people that are going to be using the house or the project, whatever it is, to agree to the concept. And then you need to go away and get your consents and planning permission. And that's going up to the leadership team and getting them on board as to what you're trying to do and the agreement. And once you've got the sign off, you can actually start doing the house. And like anything, you got to think about the foundations and the feedback and how you know it's going to be successful. You've got to think about the specializations you need. You're going to need a plumber or an electrician. Well, in sustainability, you might need deep subject matter experts in carbon or in procurement or in LCA. It really depends on the project. And so you can slowly start to build that house, but you've had to do it in a measured way. But hopefully when you do that, you've built a strong house that no matter what comes along to try and blow it down, it's a brick house, not a straw house. But that takes a lot of time. And so I think what I'd say is these things, you need a lot of internal resilience. You need a lot of getting alongside people and building those relationships so that you can call up the finance team and go, hey, what do you think of this? Could this work? And have those sorts of conversations with them as you develop it. But the other thing I think I'd say to the newbies is don't also, for some things, wait for that permission. I mean, I think back in the early days, and certainly the way I got into sustainability was I had a different role completely. But I saw an opportunity and I was interested in making a difference to the way we were operating in terms of waste and recycling. And, that became something I could just do as part of my job and way. And when I now look for people to hire, or I'm looking at people that come up and say, oh, I want to get into sustainability, actually, you can do that in your job already. Just because I've got sustainability in my title doesn't mean I need to worry about the waste and recycling in an office. Anyone could do that if you're motivated to do so.
Yeah, totally. And I, for what it's worth, think that the house analogy definitely is a great one. I actually heard a TED talk recently where they talked about the climate movement as a whole. So kind of taking that at the macro level as a house. And they were talking about, the need for private and public sector, but also having a room for the artists and, having that as part of the climate movement too. And they were talking about it like, how could we make it the best house party ever? So it's just the place where everyone wants to be and making a difference. So yeah, definitely, I think an analogy that's great. So I guess along those lines then, given you've been in this game for over 20 years, where would you like to see it go, and what's your hope for the future of sustainable business?
Yeah, to me, I still would like to see in sustainable business, I still think there's a role for every business to have a chief sustainability officer. I'm not quite of the view that, we should be doing ourselves out of a job as such, but what I would like to see actually is that the way the business uses its processes, planning processes, capital allocation, incentives for staff actually helps embed sustainability into all parts of the business. So, as I said, you don't need to be in the sustainability team to see that you can make a difference. We saw that really strongly for a while in procurement, where there was a big push in procurement professionals were starting to really pull in social and environmental aspects. And I'd like to see that come back and then expand to other parts of the business, operations, finance, wherever else, risk. So in the future, for me, I think that's just better understood and definitely more widespread across all business operations. And the CSO might have a bit more of an overview and perhaps drive some more of the strategic projects, but actually a lot of things can happen that don't need their involvement as well. People should just be aware of the opportunities and make the most of it.
I'm going to take you in the Wayback Machine for a minute, Sam, with a closing question before we finish up. What got you started in this field? What was your why, or did you have an aha moment, or have you just always been interested in looking after a beautiful environment in Aotearoa?
Yeah, good question. I've just always been interested in probably more the broader environmental management, physical environment, and then through where my career has taken me, I've got more into the corporate sustainability. I've worked across central, local consultancies and business, and I like them all, but the dynamic nature of business and the ability to make a bit of change within a marketplace is quite attractive.
You like them all,
Yeah.
but Pāmu's the best, I think, is the sentence that you're
I'm
looking
becoming
for,
a
Sam.
bit of a state-owned enterprise specialist, having gone from New Zealand Post to Pāmu. So maybe it's that mix of a bit of politics, but a bit of market is what I enjoy. Or the maelstrom of having both together. Yeah, so that was good. But I actually came into it through waste and resource efficiency. Just how can we do more with reducing energy waste and water? And the resource efficiency movement kind of emerged into corporate sustainability early on, and that's where I followed it.
And the rest is history. That's lovely. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for sharing some of your journey today. I liked what you said about knowing the incentives and the disincentives, speaking the language of business in building a sustainability whare, but basing that on the strong foundation of strong relationships. So thank you for joining us today, Sam.
Thank you.